Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, UK provides £2.26 billion loan to Ukraine as Starmer embraces Zelenskyy after the White House showdown. European leaders gather in London to shore up support for Ukraine. Israel agrees to a US proposal to extend the Gaza ceasefire for the month of Ramadan. India takes on New Zealand to identify the semi-final opponent in the ICC Champions Trophy 2025 in Dubai. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy received a warm welcome at the 10 Downing Street on Saturday, in a stark contrast to his tense meeting with US President Donald Trump at the White House the previous day. Zelenskyy was greeted with hugs and handshakes by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and expressed gratitude to the British people for their support.
Welcome here in Downing Street. As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you've heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine, and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace for Ukraine based on sovereignty and security for Ukraine.
During his visit, Zelenskyy also witnessed the signing of a £2.26 billion loan agreement between the United Kingdom and Ukraine. The loan, facilitated by British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves, will be repaid using profits from frozen Russian assets.
Well, thank you very much. And that's our side of it. And in the next few days, the disbursements of money, we should be able to make those to Ukraine. I know that they are needed as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Minister, for being able to join us today.
Zelenskyy's visit to London is part of a broader European tour, which includes a summit with European leaders on Sunday and a meeting with King Charles. The Ukrainian leader's diplomatic efforts come amid ongoing tensions with Russia. Polish President Andrzej Duda said on Saturday that he sees no other power in the world other than the United States that could stop Russian attack on Ukraine, and that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy should get back to negotiations with Washington.
Zelenskyy should return to the negotiating table with the US. We should sit down calmly at the table and negotiate a solution which will make Ukraine safe. And we, who are Ukraine's ally and have been supporting Ukraine since its start, we will support him in achieving a secure and lasting peace, because we are also very much relying on this peace. This is in Poland's interest, that Ukraine is at peace, that the war ends, and that it ends in such a way that Russia cannot attack anyone else. This is what is most important to us today. That requires, in my personal opinion, a return to the negotiating table.
And NATO chief Mark Rutte said on Saturday that he told the Ukrainian president that he needed to find a way to restore his relationship with US President Donald Trump.
What Trump is trying to do is to get peace in Ukraine. What he has done is make that opening towards Russia. I think that was a good step. That had to happen sometime too. Now we have to make sure we work very well together. We will be in London tomorrow. Dutch Prime Minister will be there. Other European leaders will be there to talk. So what can Europe do when a deal comes in to actually make sure that deal is permanent, so that Russia does not try it again? Europe can do that. And you see, really, America taking leadership here.
And German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said that European Council needs to take decisions on massive investment in our common European defense capability, urging that domestic and EU budget rules are loosened to allow support for Ukraine.
The European Council therefore also needs to take decisions on massive investment in our common European defense capability. I am therefore doing everything I can to ensure that the European Council contributes to this by making the EU Stability and Growth Pact more flexible.
And Argentinian President Javier Milei kicked off the 143rd Ordinary Session of the Congress with a televised speech highlighting his administration's economic achievements in its first year. Milei reaffirmed his commitment to reducing state intervention, reorganizing public finances and pursuing a U.S. free trade agreement. He also announced that an IMF agreement to balance the central bank's accounts and ease exchange restrictions is nearing completion, seeking parliamentary support. Milei outlined key priorities, including labor reform for economic flexibility, deeper public sector cuts, dubbed chainsaw measures, lowering the age of criminal responsibility and tax relief. The president's economic vision has sparked intense debate, with many watching to see how his policies will shape Argentina's future.
We must make fiscal balance mandatory for any state budget, whether national or subnational. But fiscal balance is not enough. It is necessary to accompany it with a severe reduction in public spending to return to society what the state today confiscate via taxes, to make these projects a reality and the changes that the Argentine people demand. We are advancing in an agreement with the International Monetary Fund to be able to finish settling the balance of the central bank and definitely leave the exchange rate claimed during this year.
And Israel has agreed to a US-backed proposal to extend truce in Gaza, covering the Muslim holy month of Ramadan and the Jewish Passover holiday in April. This temporary ceasefire aims to maintain calm during these significant religious periods. According to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office, the extension was proposed by the US President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff. The initial phase of the ceasefire, which took effect on the 19th of January, expired on Saturday. A second phase was intended to secure the release of dozens of hostages held in Gaza and pave the way for lasting peace. The extension provides a critical window for renewed negotiations, but the long-term prospects for a permanent ceasefire remain uncertain. A large gathering of demonstrators in Israel's Tel Aviv expressed urgency for the immediate release of 59 hostages still held in Gaza. The first phase of the ceasefire has come to an end, amplifying concerns for the captives' safety. Family and supporters held photos and flags, underscoring the emotional toll of the ongoing hostage crisis. The crowd emphasized the need for swift action to secure the hostages' freedom. As the situation remains unresolved, the gathering served as a poignant reminder of the human cost of the conflict. With time running out, the focus remains on negotiating the safe relief of hostages. And the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire ended on Saturday. The 6-week-long ceasefire took effect on the 19th of January after more than 15 months of conflict. sparked by Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, the deadliest that the country has seen in its history. Over the initial 6-week phase, Hamas freed 25 living hostages and returned the bodies of 8 others to Israel in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. The ceasefire has mostly held during its first 6 weeks, although both sides have accused each other of breaches, particularly in the treatment of Israeli hostages and Palestinian detainees and the handling of the releases. A Gaza truce faces uncertainty as negotiations on the next stage, aiming to secure a permanent ceasefire, have so far been inconclusive. A second phase of the fragile truce was supposed to secure the release of dozens of hostages still in Gaza and pave the way for a more permanent end to the conflict. Of the 251 hostages seized during the Hamas's attack, 58 are still held in Gaza, including the 34 that Israeli military says are dead. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has expedited the delivery of $4 billion in military aid to Israel, citing the country's fragile ceasefire with Hamas. The Trump administration has approved nearly $12 billion in military sales to Israel, underscoring its commitment to the country's security. The Pentagon has also approved a potential $3 billion arms sale, notifying the Congress on an emergency basis. This marks the second time in recent weeks that the Trump administration has used emergency authority to approve arms sales to Israel. The move comes amid a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, which has halted 15 months of fighting and paved the way for talks on ending the war. Guyana President Irfan Ali said that Venezuelan patrol vessels entered an ExxonMobil unit in maritime territory claimed by Guyana. Guyanese president in a state transmission said that a Venezuelan armed patrol ship entered Guyana's waters, adding that during this incursion, the Venezuelan vessel approached various assets in our exclusive waters.
This morning, Saturday, 1st of March 2025, at approximately 7 hours, a Venezuelan armed patrol ship entered Guyana's waters. During this incursion, the Venezuelan vessel approached various assets in our exclusive waters, including FPSO Prosperity. Our assets and FPSO Prosperity are operating lawfully within Guyana's exclusive economic zone.
Thousands protested in Serbian city of Nice in the latest mass student-led anti-corruption rally to rock the Balkan nation after the fatal collapse of a train station last year that killed 15 people. For months, the movement has put increasing pressure on the Serbian government and President Alexander Vučić, spurring the resignation of several high-ranking officials, including the Prime Minister, in January. Namibia President Nangolo Mumbumba was among thousands gathered to mourn the country's independence leader Sam Nujoma, as nearly a month of homage climaxed with a state funeral. Nujoma, the guerrilla leader who won independence for the desert nation from apartheid South Africa, died on February 9th, aged 95. The current president, Mumbumba, said that Nujoma has left behind the precious gift of freedom and independence for the people of Namibia.
Our hearts remain laden with grief. We take solace that President Sam Nujoma, who will now rest among his fellow illustrious heroes and heroines, has completed his mission with distinction, fulfilling his destiny and leaving behind the most precious gift of freedom and independence for the people of Namibia. Salute you, Comrade Nyoma, a diamond of a Tunda village, for a life well lived in the service of the people of the Republic of Namibia, the region of SADC, and the African continent.
A devastating bus collision in southern Bolivia has claimed the lives of at least 37 people, including 8 minors, in the country's worst bus accident this year. The crash occurred on a narrow two-way road near the city of Uyuni in the department of Potosi. Authorities say one of the bus drivers was under the influence of alcohol and speeding when he crashed into an incoming vehicle. Bolivia's winding mountain roads are notorious for deadly accidents, with an average of 1,400 fatalities annually. The accident comes less than 2 weeks after another bus crash killed 30 people in southern Bolivia. The country's road safety record is a growing concern, with many calling for improved measures to prevent such tragedies. And still to come up on DD India Live, U.S. federal workers hit with second wave of emails by Trump administration demanding job details. '97th Oscar Awards to take place on Sunday at the Dolby Theatre in Los Angeles. The holy month of Ramadan begins in India and other parts of Asia after sighting of the crescent moon on Saturday.
India is known as the land of yoga. Few extraordinary individuals have taken this magic of ancient wisdom to people around the world.
Paramahansa Yogananda taught that, the basic law of right human behavior is self-reform. And that means if we can put the majority of our effort to changing ourselves for the better, then we will influence others in the world by our example. India has its ancient teachings of yoga has a real place to play in the developing world civilization, and what it means to be a global citizen, to consider the whole world kind of in your embrace.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Amritpal Singh. The Trump administration has sent out a second round of emails on Friday evening demanding all federal employees to summarize their work over the past week. The emails from the government's human resources arm, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, were sent to multiple agencies. The move marks a renewed push by Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency team to assess the performance of government employees. This comes as the administration looks to mass layoffs to dramatically trim the federal footprint. U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday ordered a new trade investigation that could heap more tariffs on imported lumber, adding to the existing duties on Canadian softwood lumber and 25% tariffs on all Canadian and Mexican goods due next week. In his third new tariff probe in a week, Trump signed a memo ordering Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick to initiate a national security investigation into U.S. lumber imports under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. The trade law is the one Trump also used to impose tariffs on global steel and aluminum imports. The probe covers derivative products made from lumber, which could include furniture such as kitchen cabinets, which in some cases are made of U.S. lumber that had been exported. The order said that the Commerce Department investigation must be completed within 270 days. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order designating English as the official language of the United States. The move aims to promote national unity and cohesion citing English as the country's founding language. The order revokes a Clinton-era mandate requiring federal agencies to provide non-English language assistance. While agencies will still offer support in other languages, the decision has sparked a controversy. The U.S. is home to over 350 languages, with nearly 68 million people speaking a language other than English at home. Critics argue that the move may marginalize the non-English speakers, while supporters see it as a step towards national unity. A U.S. judge on Saturday declared President Donald Trump's firing of the head of a federal watchdog agency illegal in an early test of the scope of presidential power likely to be decided at the U.S. Supreme Court. The case revolves around the White House's February 7th dismissal of Hampton Dellinger, the Chief of Office of Special Counsel. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson in Washington had previously ruled that Hampton Dellinger, the head of the Office of Special Counsel who is responsible for protecting whistleblowers, could remain in his post pending a ruling. The Justice Department filed a notice late on Saturday saying that they were appealing Berman's ruling to the U.S. Court of Appeals for District of Columbia. Dellinger was appointed by Democratic President Joe Biden and was approved by the Senate to a 5-year term last year. The U.S. is deploying nearly 3,000 additional troops to Mexico border, bringing the total to around 9,000. The move is a part of the President Trump's border security efforts, a key priority since he declared a national emergency on his first day in office. The troops will assist in detection, monitoring and administrative tasks. However, it will not be involved in interdiction or deportation operations. Trump hailed his administration's efforts, stating that the invasion of our country is over. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth visited the southern border last month, vowing to get control of this border and warning drug cartels that all options are on the table. Hegseth also mentioned using Defense Department assets to support detention and expulsion of illegal immigrants, including the Guantanamo Bay base. Trump plans to hold up to 30,000 migrants at the base despite its notorious past. Iran's parliament on Sunday has initiated impeachment proceedings against its Minister of Economic Affairs and Finance, Abdul Nasser Hemati, in the wake of devaluation of the national currency, the rial. President Masoud Pezeshkian has also attended the impeachment session to defend his minister. Parliament is expected to vote on the impeachment in the afternoon, with any dismissal required the backing of a majority of the 290-seat body. In Iranian constitution, a dismissal of the minister would be effective immediately. However, a caretaker minister is appointed until the government chooses a replacement. The holy month of Ramadan commenced today in India and other parts of Asia after sighting of the crescent moon on Saturday. Ramadan is a sacred month in Islam that falls on the 9th month of the Hijri or the Islamic lunar calendar. Fasting in Ramadan, the 9th and the holiest month in the Islamic calendar, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and this is the time of the year when religious fervor is rekindled throughout the Muslim world. The holy month, during which hundreds of millions of faithful around the world observe the daytime fast, traditionally begins with the sighting of the crescent moon in Saudi Arabia and most Sunni-ruled Middle Eastern states. Ramadan had begun on Saturday. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings on the occasion of the start of the holy month of Ramadan. The Prime Minister wrote on social media platform X, and I quote, "As the blessed month of Ramadan begins, may it bring peace and harmony in our society. This sacred month epitomizes reflection, gratitude and devotion, also reminding us of the values of compassion, kindness and service. Ramzan Mubarak," unquote. The 97th Academy Awards, also known as the Oscars, will take place on Sunday at the renowned Dolby Theatre in Los Angeles. As one of the Hollywood's most anticipated nights, the event is set to celebrate cinematic achievements from across the globe. This year, the Oscars will be hosted by the Emmy Award-winning comedian and television personality Conan O'Brien, who will be hosting the ceremony for the first time. New Zealand have won the toss and chose to field first against India in their final Group A match of the ICC Champions Trophy 2025, which is being played at Dubai International Cricket Stadium. Indian captain Rohit Sharma's side has already secured a semi-final spot with 2 wins in 2 matches. A victory in the last league match would secure India the top spot in Group A. However, holding that position may not be significant as they are likely to encounter either Australia or South Africa in the semi-finals, both of which boast strong spin in attacks. And despite winning 2 matches so far, Indian batters have struggled against the spin, and New Zealand, who have also qualified for the semi-final, could present a formidable challenge. If India wins this match, they will play Australia in the semi-final in Dubai or will face South Africa if they lose on Tuesday. Indian cricket fans await a thrilling match as they are all excited ahead of India versus New Zealand showdown. Listen in.
India! India! Cheering up for India, and India it will be in the final.
Well, we know India has already qualified for the semis. We know both the teams are already in. But I think it should be a good game of cricket today. We would definitely want to see India playing South Africa, being number 1 in this group. And we may face Australia then in the final. But all the best to Team India, and we're there to support them today.
India! India! Cheering up for India.
And that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amritpal Singh from our entire team here in Delhi. Thank you for watching DD India Live.